Thank you, Drew. Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So, welcome to the last Sunday of the month, the last Sunday of 2019, and the last Sunday of this whole decade. It's a pretty auspicious day, isn't it? And it's also a very powerful day today. So, first of all, a very early Happy New Year to everyone, because in 3 days, it'll be 2020. So before I begin, did everyone receive a little piece of paper? If you didn't, I want you to raise your hands and one of our ushers will get one for you. Looks like everybody has one. For our special burning bowl today, this is the piece of paper that you have to use. You cannot use any other kind of paper because it's special. So make sure you have this little piece of paper to write on. So my talk title today is Let It Go. And of course, that's a lot easier said than done. I once heard a statement, you think about what you love and you love what you think about. Really? And I have to laugh because in the past I questioned that. I thought, really? I love all the thoughts I'm having about he done me wrong and she did this to me and if he hadn't did this and blah, blah. And I love that? Not really. I kind of was disgusted with myself more than anything else, and yet continued to hold on to a lot of those thoughts. But gradually over time, I realized that in a way, that statement was correct. I realized that, and this goes back a little ways ago, but I realized that in the past, I was really addicted to being the victim. All the he said, she did, all those statements that I had going over and over in my mind were linked to keeping me the victim in my life. And in that aspect, I loved it because I got something out of it. It wasn't positive, but I sure got a lot of attention. So I finally realized that what I was doing was hanging on to stuff from the past. And that held me back from really being present in the present moment. And really enjoying life as it was happening to me right at that moment. And at one point, I finally decided that I was done suffering because I wanted to start enjoying life. I wanted fun. I wanted enjoyment. I wanted happiness. And you know, I know that each and every one of us has done that at some time in our past. Maybe it's only for an hour or two. Maybe it's for a decade or two. But I think every one of us here at some point in your lives has also decided that being the victim just doesn't work. It doesn't make us happy. So if you think back over your life, or even this last decade, which we're going to release today, maybe somebody said something to us that hurt our feelings. Or maybe we had a traumatic event happen that we just couldn't understand why. And we continue mulling it over and over and over again. We've all had our inner selves triggered in so many different ways that remind us of things from the past. And when that happens, we know that it's something that we have not let go of. Hurts, pain, guilt, sorrow, jealousies. As long as we hold on to them, we can get triggered by them. And if we're getting triggered by them, that means that we can't be fully free to be our full light of the world that we came to be. The irony is that goes for the good times too. We need to let go of the past, even all those wonderful things that we experienced. I think most of us can remember our first dance, our first kiss, our first time of skiing or swimming or hiking, riding that pony, or whatever it is that we did for the first time that brought so much enjoyment. It doesn't matter what it is. We have those wonderful, beautiful memories, but if we don't let go of them, then we can't enjoy the great memory that's going to happen today, or that's coming around the corner, because once again, we're still holding to the past. We have a new year coming up in 3 days. It's also a new decade, a whole new time, a whole new life ahead of us. And it can be an absolutely fresh start for all of us. I heard someone say once that we know some people who live 80 years, but we also know many people who have lived the same year 80 times, because they keep going over and over and over. So which one of those is it for you? Are you ready for 2020? I hope so, because it's here. Coming right around the corner. Tuesday is going to be our final day of 2019. The final day of this decade. Was it a good one for you? Or was it one of challenges? Or did it bring both? Whatever 2019 brought for you individually, I do know that we need to let go of everything that did happen in 2019 and this whole past decade to be truly ready for 2020. Good or bad, it's all in the past now. It's time to let it go. We can remember different parts of it, but remembering something and dwelling on it are two different things. To remember something wonderful that happened, to give yourself the impetus to try something new again, or to do it more often, or even try something brand new that you've never tried before, is having it help you be more alive, more expanded, more in touch with the human life that we're living, at the same time being the light on this earth. If we truly want to let go of the past, we also have to be really willing to look at all the things that happened to us and around us, and to be able to release everything to Spirit. Although it's not always easy, once again, if we keep holding on to things that happened, we're truly never really ready to move forward in our lives. So many times we don't see the full story of something that happened. Our view of last year, last decade, and the things that happened may not be the full story. We can't see into the mind of God as we do with the rest of the story. And it may take time to see the perfection of whatever's happened during this last year and this last decade. But we need to hold on to knowing that our good and the truth of who we are and what we are is never ending, always prosperous, always healthy, always whole, always complete in spirit. God is always in us, living as us, living through us. Everything that's happening to us is the divine in us, waking us up and remembering our own personal I am presence. We're always being invited to shift to that perspective in all things. And that's why the only way to have it come in is to truly release the past. We have to learn to surrender, and surrender is one of the biggest things that we have to learn and the hardest lesson to learn. I don't know all things. I need help. It's a great statement when we're wondering about something. I don't know about this. I need help. And that presence of God in you is right there. So if you had some event or events happen this past year, this past decade, that challenged you and you keep thinking about, maybe that's part of why it happened, to help you to learn to surrender. But what is it that we have to surrender? Do we only surrender and release the events that happen to us? No. What we surrender mostly is our ideas of who and what we are and how life is supposed to be. We have to surrender our thoughts and feelings of lack and limitation, anger, animosity, jealousy, whatever it is. Any limitation that we're holding on to in our life, no matter what it is. Things can happen to us out of our control, but what is our reaction to it all? What pops up first when things happen unexpectedly? I once read in one of the Wayne Dyer books, if you squeeze an orange, you get orange juice. If you get squeezed, what comes out of you? Is it anger? Is it animosity? Is it fear? Or is it trust and faith and love? So if things happen around you and they aren't the way you want them to be, do you surrender it all and ask Spirit for help? Or do you get sad, angry, frustrated, irritated? What happens? Do you look for the good in the situation? Or do you look to judge and condemn? Are you ready to give people, situation, events the benefit of the doubt? Or do you look for ways to find fault? If we do become mad, sad, angry, whatever, and we do judge and condemn, do we stay there, playing that over and over again and again in our minds? Or do we have the feeling and then move beyond that to blessing the people and the situation involved? We all get frustrated and irritated at times. We all get mad. We all get upset. We all get that. We're in these human bodies. When we get tired, maybe part of us can get irritated real fast. When we're feeling good, it wouldn't bother us at all. We don't have to judge ourselves, though, when they happen. We can also know that there's a wonderful part of ourselves that is open to the fullness of Spirit that can take us beyond those feelings and senses of this human form. Inside of each of us is the fullness of Spirit and its love and light. When we take a deep breath, we can come into contact with that part of ourselves, the light that we are to this world. And when that happens, those old feelings or the feelings that we're having right then, if we allow them, can just drop away, and the light and the love of Spirit comes in immediately. There is universal grace active in every area of our lives, a grace that wipes out everything instantly as soon as we turn our attention to it. All the experiences that are happening in each of our lives then become a way for us to turn love to ourselves, regardless of how other people show up, regardless of what the situations occur and regardless of what is happening inside of us. From this place, it's easy to be a living expression of faith and love in action. And from this place, we're also able to be a channel of love, to be the one who sheds life through love and non-judgment. Reverend Jerry spoke a couple weeks ago, and one of the statements he shared with us was, "I forgive them for forgetting their own divinity or light and then projecting that forgetfulness onto me. They didn't see their own divine light because they didn't see my divine light because they had forgotten their own." And this is something that we can all do. We can all do this type of forgiving for ourselves, for others, for the world. We can all let go of thoughts, feelings, actions, ideas that limit our way of thinking and being. We can make the choice to turn away from feelings that might be holding us back from letting that full light of God shine through us that we came to be. We have to let go of so many beliefs that limit us, and we have to let go of all the events and happenings from the past to allow us to move forward into all the wonderful and great things that Spirit has waiting for each and every one of us. If only we could let go of all the things that we carry with us. And today is the perfect day to do that. The last Sunday of the year, the last Sunday of a whole decade, and it's time to put the past in the past because that's where it belongs. Time to put the old beliefs behind us. It's time to burn up all those limiting thoughts and feelings that have been holding us back and let them go. So if some of those thoughts and feelings have been coming to mind while I've been talking, and you'd like to let them go today, just take your little piece of paper and write them down. Now, you don't have to write a story. You can write 1 or 2 words. If you have a tendency to judge very quickly, just put judgment down. If you have a tendency to try and control everyone in your life, put control down. If you find yourself getting jealous over the least little thing, just put jealousy down. Make it simple, because one simple word is a huge umbrella that covers a lot of area. And as you're doing that, just remember that nothing from your past is greater than the light that shines within you. If you just tap into that light even a little, all the things that we have clung to can be released, dissolved, transmuted with just a breath of releasing energy. So I'd like to call the ushers forward right now. And in a moment, they will be passing the offering baskets to gather up all those little pieces of paper. And while they're doing that, let's sing one more time, I release and I let go.